we have a Revit model here. So we are starting with this model, and I'm showing you how to transfer this to a content in the design heritage platform for AR or VR application. Overall process is to go from Revit, exporting the model to Rhino first as a DWG file. And then from Rhino, we are exporting to design heritage using OBJ format. And I will show you why this is a good process as we proceed with this video. So now this model you see here is a very fully developed model of Alva Aalto's experimental house in Finland. It has a patio here and on the south side, and then also in the north side is the entrance and the living room space. I'm going to use two parts of this model in the final exhibit. One part is the south part, including this patio. The other part is the north part of the model. Because I would like to make different kinds of composition in various slides to show only one part of the model with reference to the plan or sections or maybe photos, or assemble two together at some point, or moving them around to show other media like sections or photos to make sense out of them. You can make more components extracted from the original Revit model. And you can also do that in Rhino, as you know. However, splitting the model in Revit, it's very convenient because there are a couple of different useful methods. You know, probably you can use the section box to make a component like this. So this is a section box, which can be just dragged like this to select a portion you need. And then this can be exported. However, my recommendation is using another method called scope box. It's very much like a section box, but there are a few advantages. Scope box, let me just hide this. Menu can be found under View, Create, Scope box, but it only shows when you are in orthogonal views, like levels, plans, and site. So if I go to 3D view, the scope box gets grayed out. Because you are supposed to make the shape of the box defined in orthogonal views. So I'm going to make two boxes in here. First one, like this. And the second one, maybe a little bigger like that. And unlike section box, you can see both of them, and it's easier to control the relationship between the two. So I want to make them back to back. So I just arrange them like that. Another thing scope box can do, which is difficult in section box, is, for instance, like rotating the shape. cropping shape like this. Okay, so once you draw the rectangles in the plan, you can look at it in 3D view. And there it shows like this. And then actually another thing you might want to do is to go back to the plan, and then you can label it in a way you can identify it easier. So this is actually north. This is south. And then go back to the 3D view. If I want to use this part, this one, south part, then you go to the item which is scope box in the property menu, and right now scope box is none. Just underneath is the section box that you probably are familiar with. And then the drop-down menu, you will choose the box you want. And then the portion you want is cropped. And then you can actually switch to another one like this. Yeah. And if I want to change or edit the box proportion and sizes. For instance, if I want to make sure that this box includes all the sides, including the bottom, and maybe the other half, I only want to use the lower portion without the roof. I want to cut through the wall. Then I can set it up like this. And then you can still edit the width and length. One thing is when you use the scope box by selecting it like this, once you select it, it doesn't allow you to edit the shape. So the other one, which was not selected, I can still adjust it like this. But the one which is being used cannot be edited directly in here. So if you want to edit this one, you will need to cancel the selection or choose the other one. So if you cancel the selection to none, and you also need to unclick section box, then you are back to the previous situation, and then you can adjust the content. One more thing is, if you are doing AR with a 3D printed model, like the way I was showing in the example, then you'd also need that shape of the 3D printed model exported at this stage, because later it will be used as what's called 3D mask. If you go back to the PDF documentation of the process, there's a little bit of explanation in here. So for instance, let's say you have a digital model shown in your AR screen, and then you have the 3D printed model, or it can be actually any model, any physical model, placed in front of it like this. And this one, the one you see on the left, is the situation you want to see in your mobile phone screen. However, it will likely to do something like this. The reason is augmented reality application basically simply overdraw the digital portion on the live feed. So the portion of the occluding physical model will be actually overwritten by the digital model. So instead of making a situation like this, you want to actually correctly make a situation like this. There will be a technique that you have to use called 3D masking. And for that, you will need the shape of this physical object, which may occlude the digital model. So because of that reason, if you are using a model, physical model for AR, you would like to have that shape also exported from Revit at this stage. Okay, so now when you get crop region, scope region properly set up, you just need to export the file using DWG. And this process also is very detailed, documented in detail, documented in this handout. And there are a few important parameters you have to use, which is also described in here. So you can look at it when you are doing it for yourself. But one important thing is to use the correct parameter for a few of the situation, a few of the tabs in here. And most likely, you can just leave everything as default, but unit and coordinates, I recommend you to use either meter or foot. Because for instance, if you use a millimeter, you get lots of digits, a very large number. And coping with that in Rhino and also design heritage platform later is a little bit of a hassle. So my recommendation is to use meter or foot for a small building. And then for this section, which is solids, use polymesh instead of ACIS solids, because the application we are using later basically handles 3D mesh object instead of a solid object. So that's the second one. And the third one, you can use different DWG format, and most likely all of them works. But the recommended one for our purpose is the oldest one, 2007 format, because it is the simplest format and therefore easier to handle and more likely to have the best compatibility with the other software we are using. And then make sure that the correct drawing, 3D drawing is selected. And then you can specify the file name, and then you're ready to export. And you repeat this for each component you want to export.